These videos I keep making get more fun and more fun, and in this video we are breaking down the anatomy of the 12-5 upset, the biggest upset line there is in March Madness, and there's so many things that go into this. So we're going to talk about the history of the 12-5. We're going to talk about why these things happen, and then finally we're going to break down the current 12-5 projections and see what we can get into, who will get upset, who will survive, all things to help you fill out your bracket. This 12-5 upset is the biggest one. But without further ado, we're going to get into the video. My name is Trenton Gibson. I'm a former college basketball Division I point guard and a current professional hooper. Man, I'm making these videos, film breakdowns, so go ahead, tap in, subscribe, and we're getting into the history of the 12-5 upset. Now, there have only been 5 years since the 2000 March Madness tournament that there hasn't been a 12 seed upset. No matter who it is, you need to pick one because that's what the odds say. 12 seeds have won 35% of their matchups. So this is a high chance that one of these teams is gonna win. So let's break down these past classic upsets. We're gonna go all the way back to 1998. We have Valparaiso, shout out Missouri Valley Conference, and Ole Miss. Guess who hits the shot? Bryce Drew hits a buzzer beater off a full court pass to a pass. Bryce Drew games them boys, right? This is one of the first 12-5 upsets. It's the birth of the Cinderella, and it's gonna move us on to number 2, the 2016 Little Rock, Arkansas. Shout out UALR, man. Beats Purdue. I'm not a big Purdue fan. My last video, I said they're fraudulent program, and so we got Little Rock, Arkansas. Josh Haggins making big shots, going into overtime, pulling a deep game out against the Purdue, a dogfight. Purdue Boilermakers loss all happened because of Josh Haggins and Little Rock, Arkansas. But you might know the coach of this team. His name was Chris Beard, current coach at Ole Miss, was at Texas Tech doing his thing. So we move on to the next one. I'm just breaking these down for you, give you some backdrop. We have 2019 Murray State, led by you-know-who, Ja Morant. They're playing number 5 seed Marquette, led by Mr. Howard. Great score, but Ja Morant put belt on them boys, 83-64. Ja Morant recorded the 9th triple-double in NCAA tournament history. And look at this. We have Ja Morant at a 12 seed. We're going to get into this later, but the number 2 overall pick was playing for a 12 seed. And obviously, Ja Morant had his way against this struggling Marquette team. Now, one that hits close to me, the Middle Tennessee MTSU Blue Raiders puts belt on Minnesota. MTSU was the ultimate 12 seed. Everybody had MTSU winning this game. Why is this? It's because they had beat 15 seed Michigan State, Denzel Valentine. Oh no, they had beat Michigan State. And so MTSU the next year comes back as a 12 seed. They end up beating Minnesota, putting belt on them boys, and it's because MTSU was a seasoned veteran by that time. They had the guys, they brought them back, continuity was great, and so now closer to the belt that we have, 2021 Oregon State. Oregon State was a 12 seed, they beat number 5 Tennessee. Tough for me, shout out the Vols, but Oregon State was hooping, and they got all the way to the Elite Eight. It just shows the danger that these 12 seeds have. So I just laid out the history, and let's get into the real part of the video, the best part of the video, me explaining why. Why does this happen? How did 12 seeds, no-name guys, really come out here and put belt on Power 5 conference guys? This does not make sense. Well, to me, it makes perfect sense. For example, this 12 seed is really the highest seed for conference tournament winners. Mid-major conference tournament winners, such as MTSU at the time, Murray State at the time, these guys are used to winning. And a lot of times they come into these tournaments 29-5, 30-4, right? And they're coming in with strength. They're coming in with winning habits. A lot of times they're coming in with maturity. They're coming in, peaking at the right time, having to fight in for do or die moments in their conference tournaments. They're battle tested, and they come up against a middle of the pack ACC, SEC team who only got in the tournament just because they happen to play quad 1 and quad 2 teams all year. Of course, they're going to get some victories, so they get in. But these Power 5 teams might not have gone through the adversity, might not have the continuity, might not have the winning habits that it takes when it comes down to late games, pressure situations, and that is the first reason that this matchup is always so tricky. The second thing, it's all psychological. Everybody knows this 12-5 seed is a big thing. So when the 5 seed comes in, they've been hearing all week they're a potential upset. When they get to the arena, the fans knows it's a potential upset. It's March Madness. It feels like the whole world is against the 5 seed. So once again, when the 12 seed is hooping with house money, when the 12 seed feels like, hey, we them guys, it doesn't matter. We want to show what we can do against a Power 5 team. Those Power 5 guys don't deserve to be there. That is the mentality. And when it comes second half, the crowd's against them. The 12 seed's feeling good. The 5 seed will start to struggle. And getting on to the last point, maybe the most important point. And I selected the teams I selected just to prove this point to you. Look who was on these teams. Ja Morant's team. Ja Morant on a 12 seed. We're playing a number 2 overall draft pick, an NBA All-Star. That is not a regular mid-major team. So a lot of times, Ja Morant at that time could have been playing on a Power 5 team, but he was playing on a mid-major team, and he was able to defeat Marquette. He was the best player on the floor, and on paper, you wouldn't think that. Moving on to the Little Rock game, coached by Chris Beard. A lot of these mid-major coaches are great, and they're just waiting in the wings to get these high major jobs. North Texas had that with Grant McCasland. They won an NCAA tournament game, and now he's at Texas Tech. So we had Chris Beard, a great coach, a Final Four national champion appearance coach with Texas Tech, with Jarrett Culver. And so he was coaching at Little Rock in 2016. Great coach, underrated. Obviously, that makes a difference. Then we go to Valpo. Bryce Drew, he was a player at the time, but we know Bryce Drew, great coach at Baylor, made it happen, national champion level coach. And these things just make sense, right? Even people like West Virginia, when they had Joe Mazzulla and they beat University of Kentucky. These upsets just leave little seeds, and the guys who are on these teams go on to do great things. It's because they're great people. So we have covered the reason why this 12 seed is so dangerous. I'm really enjoying making the video. And before we get into the bracket forecast, go ahead and drop a subscribe, man. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. But the first 12-5 that is a great potential upset is we have number 5 Vanderbilt versus High Point. Now, High Point is out in the Carolinas. High Point will be playing in the East region. Vanderbilt is in Tennessee, more to the south, not necessarily the East. So High Point off top will have potential home court advantage. Once again, the crowd gets into it. People are feeling it. Vanderbilt, middle of the pack SEC team. They had a great start, but they ended up trailing off. They don't play with much physicality, and that is something High Point plays very fast, very up and down, very athletic. High Point could overwhelm them. So we have it right here, our first potential 12-5 upset. Now moving on to the South region, we have number 5 North Carolina versus Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin still has to win their conference tournament, but if they do, and they're playing this number 5 North Carolina team, North Carolina is right for an upset. This is another 12-5 upset range. Why? Caleb Wilson, North Carolina's best player, is out. That presents a problem. This really illustrates what I'm saying. A lot of these 5 seeds come in middle of the pack, limping into the tournament, aren't on the best momentum. And a 12 seed like Stephen F. Austin comes in feeling great, knows how they want to play, knows themselves, and have won in pressure situations because they had to win their conference tournament. So once again, that's 2 out of 2 that could be suspect. Now, moving on to the Midwest region, we have my Arkansas Razorbacks going against South Florida Bulls. Now, South Florida still has to win their conference, but they have been real all year. And my Arkansas Razorbacks are due for an upset. This team is not great defensively. Now, we have Darius Acup. We have the ability. We have the talent. We have a deeper roster. But you never know. If your defense doesn't show up, South Florida comes in hitting shots, able to create extra possessions for themselves on the offensive rebound. Arkansas gets in foul trouble. Arkansas could be on the ropes. As much as I hate to see it, Arkansas could be on the ropes. Now, moving on to our last forecast, we have St. John's playing Yale. St. John's playing Yale. St. John's has been suspect all throughout the season. Great roster, obviously great star power in the coach, but they have not performed as well as they did last year. And they are playing a Yale team who already upset Auburn a few years back. They beat Vanderbilt in the NIT. They have been consistently good for the past few years, have a good coach. And like I said, St. John's has been coming in. Maybe they're stumbling. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they are not feeling good, and they're going out in the West region. Nobody out West has any allegiance to St. John's. They want to see an upset. If the crowd gets involved, St. John's has already been shaky offensively. If Yale can execute, that's a potential 12-5 upset. So in conclusion, all of these games are real potential upsets. You need to look at them. My favorite one is the High Point, then followed by the Stephen F. Austin North Carolina, only because North Carolina has the injuries, but North Carolina does have the height with Vessler down there. But we'll have to see how it goes, man. Let me know what you think in the comments about this 12-5 matchup. Who are your potential upsets? And go ahead and tap in with me. When the tournament begins, I will get back to my breakdowns, breaking down the film, breaking down our star players, breaking down how teams can transpire and get through to the end of the tournament, man. Go ahead and tap in with me. Go ahead and drop the sub for the 3rd time, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.